Federal government warns foreign powers. Hello viewers and welcome to InfoGist TV. The federal government yesterday warned foreign countries to stay clear of the nation's internal affairs. The warning came against the backdrop of foreign flags being flown during the ongoing protest against hardship in the country, especially in some northern states including Kano, Kaduna and Zamfara, and the arrest of some foreigners as sponsors of the protests. This came as the protest, which had thawed in most states where it was held, continued in Port Harcourt, River State yesterday, as protesters and some journalists were attacked by thugs who infiltrated the protests. The Nigerian army has also detained the soldier who fired the shot that killed a 16-year-old boy in Zaria, Kaduna State, on Tuesday evening, saying he was being investigated. Also, the Plateau and Bauchi governments, which imposed a curfew in the heat of the protest earlier in the week, have relaxed it as normalcy returned to the two states yesterday. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, who gave the warning while briefing members of the diplomatic corps in Abuja, however, highlighted the importance of cordial international relationships. Recall that the protests, which gained momentum in major cities such as Lagos, Benin, Osun, Oyo, Kano, Gombe, Yobe, Borno, Niger, Kebbi, Abuja, and other northern towns, was marked by violence, and that at least 6 Spaniards were arrested in Kano in connection with the protests. The minister appealed for continued collaboration from the international community to support Nigerians' effort in overcoming its current challenges and achieving a better future for all Nigerians. He warned while the government continues to work hard through various reform programs and measures to address challenges facing Nigeria and Nigerians, it is pertinent to remind us that no nation tolerates foreign interference in its domestic affairs and that of its citizens. Nigeria is not an exception. The government will take appropriate actions against any foreign entity residing in Nigeria that is found to have directly or indirectly supported the protesters by whatever means or seeks to interfere in the internal affairs of the country. Nigeria cherishes and continues to value the cordial relationship that happily subsists between her and your countries and organizations, and will not do anything to undermine or take for granted such relationship. Indeed, more than any time before now, we solicit your understanding and collaboration in the ongoing efforts of the federal government in addressing the economic challenges confronting the country to achieve a better life for every Nigerian at home and abroad. In his address at the meeting, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, reaffirmed the government's support for peaceful assembly and freedom of expression, while committing to investigating the violence and bringing those responsible for violence to justice. Idris thanked the diplomatic community for their support and assured that the worst of the unrest is over. He expressed optimism that the government's policy interventions would soon yield positive results for the nation. I want to assure your excellencies that the federal government has launched an investigation into the violence that we saw in the last week to identify and bring to justice all those responsible. We are committed to preventing the recurrence of such unfortunate incidents in the future. I also want to thank you individually and collectively for your support and understanding during that difficult period. I want to assure you that the worst is over, and we can now as a nation march forward to enjoy the fruit of all the policies and programs interventions being implemented. I thank you for your kind attention, he stated. Meanwhile, the Department of State Services (DSS) yesterday revealed that it is investigating 7 Polish nationals who were arrested in Kano over their alleged involvement in the widespread waving of the Russian flag during protest. Speaking during a meeting in Abuja on Wednesday with members of the diplomatic corps, the DSS spokesperson Peter Afunanya said the Polish nationals were arrested in connection with the waving of the Russian flags during the protest. Afunanya said the arrest of the suspects was not targeted at Polish nationals. His words, "For the persons that we have picked up from Kano, it was because of where they were found during the protest and display of the foreign flag in Kano. That was 2 days ago. As a responsible security organizations, we owe it obligation to do some verification and ascertain basic reasons and circumstances for some cases. They were picked as a result of security enforcement because where they were when the incident happened, it is not a targeted operation. As the foremost diplomatic security organization, we believe we have to work in sync with all of you who are men of goodwill, and our operation must be governed by the democratic principles and protocol that emphasizes freedom and human rights, and of course intelligence and security governance. We obey all of this whether we are dealing with Nigerians or foreigners. However, the protest entered its severe days in Port Harcourt, River State yesterday as thugs who infiltrated it attacked journalists and protesters. It was learned that a group of thugs positioned themselves as directly opposite the federal security in Port Harcourt, intimidating and chasing away protesters. An eyewitness told our reporters that two protesters were beaten by the thugs while police officers stood by and did nothing. The federal security in Port Harcourt Aba Express Road has been gathering points for the protesters for the past 7 days of the protest. When contacted, the River State Police Commissioner Olutunji Disu expressed concern over the incidents, promising a thorough investigation to ensure accountability and prevent future occurrences. Also reacting to the development yesterday, Police Public Relations Officer of the State Command Grace Iringe Koko, a superintendent of police, warned that their operatives would arrest and prosecute anyone identified to be involved in any form of criminality using the protest as a cover. Ringe Koko noted that the protest had gone beyond the original plan of the organizers, adding that criminals were now using the event to visit mayhem on unsuspecting members of the public. She said that the River State Police Command has become aware that the ongoing protests in the state have been hijacked by hoodlums, resulting in criminal activities. The original organizers have lost control of the crowd. The so-called protesters have resorted to harassing other residents going about their lawful businesses and activities. They have disrupted traffic flow, forced passers-by to attach leaflets to their vehicles, erected billboards, threatened traders to cease operations, and set tires ablaze on the road, actions that are uncharacteristic of a peaceful protest. Iringe Koko advised the protesters to maintain the processions within the areas approved for them, adding that any form of disturbance would meet stiff resistance from the police. In solidarity, those of them wielding leaves as a sign of peacefulness of the protest either waved or dangled them in process. Youths, women, including the pregnant ones, teenagers, children, bus conductors and passengers all joined in frenzy of the peaceful protest, with most of them shouting as they moved, "Tinubu must go, Tinubu must go." In front of my one police station, which is directly opposite the Rumuwoji, my one market, some policemen stood watching the entire show. Like the masses, motorists were not left out in the show of solidarity with the protesters. As all vehicles plying Ikwere Road attached green leaves in front. One of the protesters, a heavily pregnant woman, said she decided to join the protest to demonstrate her anger over the intense hunger, hardship and poverty in the country. She added that joining the protest despite her condition was a sacrifice she needed to make for the sake of her children and her unborn baby. "I decided to join because I'm not happy the way things are. It is my first time because my husband did not allow me to join since. He said I'm pregnant, but since I did my shop today, I joined them when they came to my 3. I'm not happy with this government. We are hungry. Poverty everywhere. Go to the market, a cup of garri is 300, beans is 500, rice is 400 a cup. What kind of government is this? What will my children eat? I have 2 children, plus this one in my belly. It's because of them I joined this protest. No hope at all. In fact, we are tired," she said. There was no looting or destruction of goods and property during the protest at my one area of Port Harcourt.